But yeah, I mean, I guess it's all kind of part of that proprietorial experience that straddles all kinds of fandom. You know, the football fan feels that the team belongs to them in some respect, and you know, you'll never meet a football fan that doesn't have an opinion on what should happen with the team, and you know, you'll rarely meet a football fan that doesn't think they could be the manager and do, you know, at least as good a job as the person that's in there. And likewise, I think kind of film and TV fandom and music fandom shares that gene. People feel very possessive and proprietorial about the things that they like, and they have strong opinions about what they think should happen. You know, if their favourite band puts out an album that they're not particularly keen on, they'll always have an opinion about how it should have been different, and likewise sci-fi fans with their favourite programmes or whatever, and certainly football fans with their team's performances. So I think there's that, and what was I going to say? It was something very interesting and profound, and and I think, yeah, they kind of, all sections of fandom share that kind of resistance to, I don't want to make this sound really parochial, but there's certainly a possessiveness that they don't want people from outside fandom to kind of interfere or to take any active part in their thing. So you'll often find, and you know, I'm not kind of looking from the outside in, I'm completely guilty of all of this myself, but you'll find kind of music fans often, when their favourite band becomes big, they feel slightly kind of less connected to that band because it's not their little secret anymore. And likewise, I find that quite a lot with sci-fi and fantasy fans. Certainly, you know, look at Doctor Who fandom, and while, you know, an awful lot of old school fans have enjoyed the new series, I think there's certainly a degree of fans that feel the programme's been taken away from them, because it isn't exactly as it was when they were growing up with it 15, 20, 30 years ago. And ditto football fans, you know, if you look at them, they'll kind of speak to so many fans, certainly of Premiership teams, that feel the game has been taken away from them slightly. It's become much bigger than it ever was. It's become more corporate, and they feel that it's lost a little bit of its soul, I think. And I think that kind of possessiveness is a strong word, and that's possibly the wrong one to use, but that kind of affinity and kind of strong emotional bond with a subject is something you find across the board. I'd never be so judgmental as to tell somebody how to live their life, to be honest. And if you know, there are doubtless science fiction fans that are wrapped up in their programme or their film or whatever to the detriment of other things that they could be doing, just as there are, you know, I know plenty of football fans that will happily miss, you know, friends' weddings, birthdays, whatever, because they have to go and see their team play away at Brighton on a wet Wednesday night in February. So I guess with everything in life, it's a matter of finding a balance. And if, you know, watching 126 episodes of Doctor Who over a week, and never leaving the house, and, you know, sitting in a pit of your own filth watching Resurrection of the Daleks over and over again is what makes you extraordinarily happy, then I would never be one to say that you know, you're living your life in the wrong way. Go for it, whatever. I mean, that was the kind of my kind of guiding philosophy behind doing this book, was that I never wanted to do a kind of pointing at the weirdos exercise, because, you know, I'm part of that, and I've probably watched a few too many episodes of Doctor Who over the course of a weekend in my life. But I never wanted to be that kind of that judgmental person saying, "Oh, these people are strange, laugh at them," because I just don't think that at all. And I just, you know, live your life as you want to do, to be honest. And that's, you know, there's no law against being so wrapped up in a sci-fi program that it kind of, you know, to the exclusion of lots of other things in your life. There's, you know, plenty of other people do it, you know. Plenty of people get married and have relationships to the exclusions of sci-fi programs, and that's equally as obscene.
There's a quote at the end of the show, I think that's it.
I'm making this up as I go along. Is it any good?
It's good, yeah. So